started. So again, my name is Barbara Campbell. I'm the Executive Director of the Dalton Foundation and very proud sponsor of the Relink.org program. And we're really excited about our partnership with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction and getting the data on Relink.org out to as many people as possible. The goal of this webinar today, we will share more about Relink.org. We also want to congratulate everybody on the work they're doing with the reentry coalitions. And our goal of these webinars is to really support you, to help create community, and to just help make everybody succeed. That's our overall goal. I'd also like to introduce our Mr. Bill Pica. He's with me today too. He's with Relink.org. He'll be sharing as well this morning. He is our statewide data coordinator and is one of the reasons why Relink.org is what it is, and we're really thankful for that. Before we talk about Relink.org, I'm gonna see if I can advance these slides real quick. They don't seem to be advancing at the moment. Hold on one second. There we go. We will talk about Relink.org at the end, but one of the primary topics we wanted to start out with to support everyone as they're continuing their coalition or expanding it is the idea of pop-up events for the community. We all know that they're great ways to not only engage with other service providers in your region, but to also obviously help those that are coming out of incarceration. So we want to really just go through an overview and a guide. And I humbly admit there's a lot of people on this call that have some great experience with this. And I definitely welcome your comments and experience as we go through this. This is just designed to be kind of a template of everything to think through when setting up an event. All right. One of the things I think with planning any type of event is just before you start is define your overall goals and objectives. I know when we do this, we define who we want to reach, what we want to offer. We also have some other side goals we have too of forming relationships or whatever the case may be for your particular region. We know every county will be a little bit different. Every event will look a little different, but you really want to have an idea of where you're going so you make sure that you end up there or near there at the end. And then another thing too to think of at the very beginning is your budget. I know we're grateful to have some budgets in order to do these events, but thinking through what you have, your whole pot of money and how you want to allocate it out for various events is really important at the beginning. It helps you throughout the whole planning process. I put a few questions up here. I think that we could ask a lot more questions, but I just wanted to keep it kind of simple and just things to think through. And we'll talk a little bit about more of each of these, but what kind of resources do you want to have at your event? What is it that you want to offer? And maybe it's just setting up resource tables to let everyone know what's available in your community. Maybe it's specific services. We'll talk about some of those in just a second. What service providers do you want at the event? And I put that question there because probably the answer is you want as many as that exist to be at your event. You want to create awareness of what's in your county. But one thing that we always do when we plan events is to have a couple, 3, 4, sometimes 5 key partners that we work with, and we keep them involved in the planning of the event from the very beginning. There are co-leaders, so to speak, and they are involved with everything from what we're going to talk about, setting the date and all those things. You want to have your key supporters that agree to attend your event. So that's really important. And then, there's also a question that comes up too is how do we find all the service providers in our area? That's one of the ways that Relink.org is here to help. There are lots of ways to find out about all the providers in your area, and many people on this call I know have a great black book and have great connections in the community and may know a lot of them. And that's where we're going to work together with Relink.org to get those resources on Relink.org, and then to also have you have access to everything that already exists on Relink.org. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And as I'm going through this, I didn't say this when I started, but I do want to, if anyone has questions, if anyone wants to stop me, as I'm in present mode now, I can't really see you, but Bill's here to support. And Bill, if you see anybody, just please interrupt me. We're happy to answer questions as we go, and we'll also have time for question and answer at the end. We put this slide in here just to think of some few of things that you could offer at a pop-up event. In addition to inviting everybody, every service provider in your county to come to the event, you may want to work and get some ID vouchers. You may want to have some bus passes. There's just a lot of things. Some of the counties have the cell phone programs. You may want to think through what you want to offer and engage with these providers early in the process, so you know that they will be able to attend your event. Because we know that these services, when you offer them, they're very attractive to the community, to the family members, and extremely helpful. So you want to think through these in advance and understand where to find these resources in your area. And again, that's where the ODRC team is great. We're happy to help with that in specific counties when we're able to as well. So just want to relay that information. Then this one's kind of an obvious one, but you have to select a location. And as planning a lot of events, sometimes this goes really smoothly and is easy, and other times this takes a lot of time. We just put a few things on this slide here to think about. Obviously, as we're coming into winter, you're probably going to have to choose indoor. When you're doing events in the summer, obviously outdoor is usually a great draw, but you obviously have to consider the weather. Always want to consider accessibility for the people you're trying to reach. You want to have it close to their neighborhood, close to a bus line so people can get there easily is also very important. You want to think about parking and traffic, not as necessarily a bad thing, but when there's a lot of traffic in an area, it attracts people to your event. So too much traffic can obviously be bad, but in general, having it in an area where people will find the event is very, very important. The date and the time, and this is really important. We've learned over time is to have your key partners in line, you know, your 3, 4, your 5 people that you're working closely with, and agree on that date and time together, and then go forward. Because you always know when you're planning an event that everybody will not be able to come on the day and time you pick, and that's understood. But you want to have your key plan, your strategic plan of who are the 4, 5, 6 people you really want to be there, and make sure you're coordinating with them as you pick the day and the time. And then usually what I tell our team when we're planning an event, as soon as you have a reasonable location, you've got agreement with 3, 4, 5 people on the day and the time, you go with it. You lock it in and you start planning. You can sometimes get bogged down in setting the perfect location and the perfect time. And it can sometimes, I know in our experience, it can end up not even having the event because trying to keep everybody accommodated. So we just recommend picking a few key partners. Once you're in agreement, lock in that date and time and move forward with it. I think that's really important. Then once you got that locked in, you want to figure out how you're going to advertise your event. So there's 2 kind of prongs. We think about that. Obviously, you want to reach out into the community to let them know that this event is going to be happening. There's various ways to do that, and I know that we've used a lot of them over the years, and some of them, this is where you might use a little bit of your budget to maybe do some social media promotion. You may use your budget to do some flyers. You may target a certain area. But this is where sometimes your budget comes in. Strategic Facebook marketing can be really helpful. And maybe if that's an interest, we could do a webinar on that going forward, but you can really target specific geographies and specific people within the geography, and it can be pretty impactful to draw people to your event. You obviously want to be able to let every single service provider in your region know about the event, and that's again where we can help with relink.org, making sure that you have all the options in your region. And then also ODRC team has resources, and they help once you select your event, your date, and your time, they will be also able to let people know about your event, especially those people that are working within your region. So they are always a great asset to help get your event out into the community, so more and more people will be able to attend. Then once you start your marketing, you want to be thinking about everything you want to have at the event, and everything. You yourself will probably have a table for your coalition or some sort of booth to help people understand your existence as a coalition, what you do. So you're going to want to have materials printed and prepared for that for yourself. You're also going to want to consider tables and chairs for all the other providers that come. Is this something where you want them to bring their own table and chairs? Is this something you're going to provide? These are all kind of things that you can think through. May depend on your venue, but there definitely are ways to get all of those things for free based on the place that you're working with. And even in events where we've done many in the past where we're required to bring our own table and chairs, it's never been a problem as long as you're clear and people know up front what to expect. It works out usually just fine. And then I put on this slide too as supplies to think about. We always want to think about the end game as we're going through. And one of the really important things is collecting data. It's how we measure our success. It's how we show our value. And so thinking of the ways in which you want to collect data. How do you want to collect information from people who attend? How do you want to collect information from the other providers so that you can stay connected with them afterward? But thinking through that, I know that can be simple things. It can be clipboards. We've used tablets in the past to collect data, to collect information on people. There's all kinds of ways, but just make sure you think of it ahead of time so it's not an afterthought and you're scribbling it on a piece of paper. I know Bill, our data coordinator, has put together some exit forms that any coalitions are welcome to use to help collect data on attendees and to help report on your events. So we have that available as a tool for those that would like to use it. But thinking of that before the event, I know one time we planned an event and we totally forgot about that. And it was a big problem at the end on how we could track everybody. So just think about that ahead of time. The day of the event, you really want to plan to have your volunteers or your staff, depending on, you want to have plenty of people there to help coordinate, help getting the providers set up. You want to think about the setup, the tear down. You always want to have some sort of plan B for the weather if you're outside, or even with facility issues that can come up, just to think about how you're going to handle everything in the event that anything goes unplanned. And if you've done these events, you know that sometimes many things cannot go the way you want. And tents are really important if for outdoor events. A lot of times if you have those planned in advance, then a little bit of rain, things like that don't pose a problem. Are there any questions or anything as I go? I know I'm going through this kind of quickly and I don't want to do that. But also if people are very familiar with this, I want to just go through it. All right, I'm going to move on then. Follow-up. The last step would be the follow-up. And I think this is really important. I think sometimes we lead up to we plan the event, we want everyone to come, it's a great successful day, and then we kind of just sigh, oh, it's over. But we really want to think, you really want to think through the story that you're going to tell. I think it's really important because you're growing a coalition and it's exciting to hear about all the things that have happened. And it's really important to share that information. So kind of think of that as the end game of how you're going to share the results of what happened, who you're going to share it with. In addition to the ODRC, they're going to ask for reporting, obviously, but you want to be able to share it as a way to keep advancing the work that you're doing. The work is so important. You want to be able to keep doing that too. You also want to be able to keep the connections with everybody you've met. So thinking through that. And then at the event, like I said, we're always thinking about the next event. What's the next thing going to be like? And to have that in mind as you're going about your event, I think is really important. All right. Before I move on, anyone can either raise your hand or you can directly speak out. We've got this in the meeting format, so you can ask questions as you go. And I know there's some of you on here. I think Zach might be on here from Columbus, and you have a lot of experience with these events. Is there anybody that has any questions? Is there anybody that has any practical experience that you'd like to share? We'd love to let you share your expertise.
Good morning, this is Zach. I would just offer one in terms of the when and the where that might be helpful to folks is to start where there is already something happening that's a vital resource to the community. Start where there is already a free store, start where there is already a USDA food box giveaway, start where there's a back to school event. Those are the places where folks who will benefit the most from these services are already attending. And if you consider the social determinants of health, those are also going to be the folks who are most likely to have some sort of past justice involvement, even if they may not be on the reentry list that you're being provided from ODRC. That's what we have found to be so important, to make sure that the marketing doesn't completely fall on us, because there's also that organic reach happening at the same time. And then encourage folks that come to the event early on and benefit. If you have another 2 or 3 hours of event, encourage them to go live on their social media and tell their friends, get over here, come on, they've got X, Y, and Z. And that's been really important for our marketing success as well, kind of that micro marketing in the local community that you're set up in.
Oh, that's a great suggestion. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you so much, Zach, for adding that. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to, questions or comments?
Hello, this is Quinn Howard, Montgomery County Officer of Reentry. One of the experiences that we've had when we've done some reentry subcommittee event for our supportive services, and they've changed the name of that committee now, but is to get the participants that we serve involved in a lot of the planning and setup and different stuff as well. Not just we put it together and say, hey, this is for you, but to invite them to the table and also have them involved in, just organizing and setting up and stuff like that as well. And because that also helps with the word getting out also to folks in the community, their colleagues, and also their families and stuff that can benefit from these type of events.
Yes, thank you. That's excellent. The more buy-in you can get, you have your free advertising. People are advertising for you because they're supporting the event as well. That's excellent suggestion. Anyone else have anything? Yeah, these are great comments and suggestions. Thank you both. Appreciate that. All right, if there's nothing else, if anyone thinks of anything, please feel free to enter it in the chat, or we will have time at the end as well to go through any questions that we may have. And I just wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about relink.org. I mentioned it earlier. I don't know how many people are familiar with it. I hope everybody is at least a little bit. Relink.org is a free online database of addiction recovery, reentry services, mental health, human trafficking, family resources for the whole state of Ohio. I think we have close to 20,000 resources listed on the site. It's been a labor of love for us, this project, putting it together for the past 5 years. Oh, I'm sorry, there we go. We started relink.org basically in 2018, just aggregating resources so that people could understand every option they had for help in the state of Ohio. It's grown exponentially. It's been really a blessing to be a part of the project and see how it's grown. And it's just our heart and our passion to get it to everybody's hands so that no one has to spend a lot of time looking for resources. We view it as a community project. I think as was just stated, the people that use relink.org are also the people that help provide us data, and they help really make it the community tool that it's become. I had Bill pull up just a few stats. We have a lot of data, and I think one of the future topics of these webinars, these quarterly meetings, may be on the data and how it can help your organization, because we can show how many times an organization's been searched, what people are looking for. It's really kind of astonishing how many times organizations can be searched. And so we want to be able to provide that data to help assist everyone in the work that you're doing. So there, as you can see, we've had over 90,000 searches in 2022, and reentry is a huge part of it. For those of you that don't know, coming very soon, a version of relink.org will be on the tablets of everyone in the ODRC system. So those that are still incarcerated will be able to see the data on relink.org. It's a version of relink.org that doesn't have, it's a safe version that doesn't have all the link outs on it. But for the first time, those that are planning to come out will be able to see the same thing as a parole officer will be able to see, as a family member will be able to see, so they can plan their discharge and plan their time out. And we hope that it's a time saving. We hope that it's effective for everybody. And we're really excited about it. I know it's been a great project. It's been a long time coming, and we're really excited for that to be on the tablets. But in the meantime, it's available to everybody, free of charge to use. And I'm going to, this is just some of the services that are on relink.org. In addition to the addiction, the human trafficking, the basic needs, the reentry, and the mental health services, we also added family resources. So now we have child care, we have foster care, adoption, things like that on relink.org as well. Trying to put everything someone may need just in one place, very easy to use. And I'm going to turn it over to Bill Pica now, our data coordinator, who will walk through a demo of not only how to use relink.org, but we're also going to show you how to, well, one, make sure your organization or your coalition is on relink.org, and also show you how easy it is to update your own data. Because as I mentioned, and I continually mention, this is a community project, and we always get the question of how do you maintain your data? Because, you know, data changes all the time, and we acknowledge that. And we have our team here that's always aggregating data, adding it constantly every week, updating it every week. We also have thousands of people that have their own accounts, and they're updating their own data, which is extremely helpful. And then we also have a lot of sources that provide us with lists on a regular basis. So I would say that that's the main ways that we maintain the data. Joe, I see you raised your hand. Did you have a question?
Yes, I was wondering, I'm the director of the reentry office as well for Muskingum, Perry and Morgan County. And I was wondering if you guys had considered creating under reentry, reentry offices and coalitions category. They're under support services. There's a reentry community groups and coalitions. But I was thinking it might prove more successful if it was actually had a category directly under reentry instead of going under support services to find a coalition, especially with ODRC's new work with creating more coalitions coverage of counties in Ohio. And there are also actual reentry offices in a lot of counties. Not every county, but a lot of counties have an actual office that people can contact for case management and support services. So
that is an excellent suggestion, and that is actually not very hard to do. We could move the coalitions under that category by tomorrow. That's very easy to do. And then all we would need to do is add another category for the reentry offices and grab the data and put it in. I think that's wonderful and very, very doable. So thank you. I'm taking notes, and we will get that done here in the next couple weeks. And the beauty of the system is the minute we update it, it will go, the same things will be visualized on the tablets as well. So as we're making changes, we're making improvements, everyone will get to see the same information. So that's wonderful.
Barbara,
Yes.
if I may, I'm Junior Newport from the Montgomery County Office of Reentry. And with what Joe was talking about, I thought that was a great idea, and to expand that with the reentry expansion grant. Some counties that do not have the reentry offices are being linked to other offices. So maybe there could be some direction there in who those county participants would reach out to if their county does not have an office of reentry.
Oh, that's great. Yes, we could easily do that. We could do, oh, yes, we could have something come up for all 88 counties, even if in one of the counties it says referred to this county. If we have all those mapped out,
Yes.
we could do that easily.
Okay.
Also, too, if I may add, under reentry, something that is really important that's not there, could fall under supportive services, not really sure. But in terms of, some legal assistance in the form of record sealing, CQEs, those kinds of things as well. Because a lot of our participants, of course, if they're eligible for record sealing, knowing how to go about doing that. And if they're not eligible based on their legal infractions, if they'd be eligible for the CQEs, and how they would be able to go about connecting and getting registered for that through that system as well.
Okay, great. We do have some legal assistance on there, but we don't have anything specific about CQEs. And I think we need to probably look at that and highlight that and feature that. So another excellent suggestion. I love this, y'all, because this is how relink.org has got to what it is today, is by having these type of meetings where someone says, can it do this? Can it do that? And we've evolved it. So
Barb, I hate to interrupt you again, but
no, go ahead.
Also, there is the governor's expedited pardon program. So both the CQE and the pardon program they're both getting kind of promoted under the same grant opportunity that was out there. I believe our coalition is going to get the grant, but there's excellent information on ODRC's website and the governor's website that links to the expedited pardon program, and also the CQE program is available online too, to give you a lot of information. So just links there under the legal assistance would be wonderful, I think.
Okay, great. No, these are great suggestions. We'll work to get these incorporated with our developer this week. Like I said, some of these things you suggested are extremely easy. Some of them will take us a few weeks, but they're all doable. And then thinking through your last suggestion.
I wanted to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, Roxanne. I was going to add something about links, but go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask Quinn. I love your suggestion, Quinn, about the CQE expedited pardon project. The CQE application is online and usually through DRC, but I know a lot of coalitions are providing people to help individuals complete their CQE. Do you see that CQE link not only going to the software to fill out the application, and should it be a local reentry coalition so that they can engage in another search? Or what is your vision for that? Because I love the suggestion, but I just want to know what you think about, hey, I need help with this.
On a part of that, you froze, Roxanne, so I didn't catch all of it.
You cut out a little bit, Roxanne.
Cut out a little bit, you had froze there for a second.
I love the CQE suggestion, the information for legal for the CQE on there for the people who.
She froze again.
Need a little of, if someone knows how to get into the application, but they need some help, should we direct them? Should there be a thing, if you need assistance, contact your local coalition? so they can engage in that search. Or I love it. I want to get the whole vision in my head. What you were
Yeah, I think that's great because that's what we're trying to promote. Actually, we've done some training with our some of our local partners in the local agencies, and also with some UD law students to get them trained on how to help assist others to complete the application. But I think that's a great idea. It's on this site saying, hey, you know, if you need help, reach out to Officer Reentry, UD law students, and whomever has been trained to help folks complete those
Okay.
CQEs. The CQEs, if you all are, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but our county and a few others are not where we think we should be with getting that, getting folks who are eligible to complete those CQEs. And it's that viable option for individuals that cannot get their records sealed. And so we'd like to see more individuals take advantage of it. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, Roxanne, this is Joe again. Drew's going to be setting up a meeting with me and you and someone else from ODRC regarding the pardon program.
Okay.
Because for our area, I know that I feel like a lot of the people that would be utilizing those opportunities might not be that comfortable doing it on their own.
Yeah.
So I was going to suggest that ODRC, somebody, a governor's office, whoever wants to be responsible for it, put on training for those of us who are in entry services on how to fill those applications out properly, so we're confident in what we're helping them do. Because I really do, if we get the pardon grant again, I do want to advertise a lot about the pardon and the CQE programs in our area. I believe there's a lot of people that could benefit from that, especially like he said, if you're not eligible for your pardon or expungement yet, the certificate of qualified employment is a good thing to fall back on for those especially who need a licensure. And the same thing if the CQH happens, I would love to see a training on that too as well to help us fill applications out for the certificate of qualification for housing that I know people are working on.
Excellent. Excellent, Joe. I appreciate that. And we can talk more about that. And Barbara, I think it's a possible suggestion for the next quarterly training, maybe to help the coalitions with the expedited pardon project and the CQE information.
Yeah, I wrote that down on my list as you're
Okay.
talking, and I think that's great. And I was thinking through practically too your question, Roxanne, too, of practically, you know, how we would link that on relink.org and what would provide. And what's coming to my mind is almost interview, like you said, training the coalition leaders on all this. Some probably already know it, some maybe more, but then listing that service that the coalition provides on relink.org, all the services that a coalition provides underneath that coalition so that everyone knows, and then those would be a way that to practically do that. And it also then promotes the coalition really well. It also then helps other coalitions know what other coalitions are doing and things areas that they may grow and expand into over time.
I love that. So the expedited pardon project assistance, CQE assistance could be listed under each of the coalitions that are
There's
able to
something there.
assist.
Yeah, there's something they're able to assist with, like application assistance with CQE. Expedited pardon program is something that a service that the coalition offers.
I love it.
So we'll be able to then, I'm just envisioning, list the services that each coalition provides. And those can change over time, right? And so that would be just like anything else on relink.org, where you can update your data based on what services you're providing. So yeah, that'll be great.
Well, and if I might add to that, there's another part of that I think we can, you know, this is just a statewide strategy for all of us. But I received a call last week, and we actually worked on it all week, from a woman who was granted a CQE, but in the process of her being hired, then they did the background check. She was terminated. And she said, but wait, I have a CQE. And this agency they responded to like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
You know,
education that needs to go on.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that at some point, we all the coalitions, DRC, all of us can engage in strategy to help educate employers throughout the state that don't require licensing, because the CQE is applicable for people who just want general employment. But there's still a lot of employers that don't know what that CQE is.
Well, that sounds like another webinar topic, Roxanne.
Yeah.
Not related to this group, but a different one to educate those employers. Yeah.
This is Joe again, sorry.
Yeah. I'm just trying to do it, or how to do it without boots on the ground, just going to employers and saying, hey, this is what a CQE is, because it's hard, but especially with staffing levels low for everybody, it's hard to get somebody to come to a webinar or an event. But I mean, the folks in the communities.
Yeah, it'd have to be online.
Great
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of a mega business planning session group where we did a webinar for businesses for recovery to work, trying to get them to be more open, convince companies to be more open to people who are in recovery.
Yeah.
To accept those applications, those applicants. And we did a lot of advertising through the chambers of commerce. They were really open to sending out the invites and information, and that might be a good way to help get the word out about the CQE program as well.
Yeah.
Great suggestions.
Here at the Office of Montgomery County, we on our employment subcommittee, our co-chair of that subcommittee is Linda Ashworth, who is part of Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce, and we work along with them, or she's worked closely with employers on getting that information out to them and the knowledge about the CQEs. Also, when we've done our training, we have done it kind of hybrid. Those that actually want to be on site, we'll train them, and then also have it to where we're connecting through the Zoom modality as well. So those that may logistically may not be able to come on site, so we can get the training as well. So we do it kind of twofold. So those that can meet in person will have it, but also have it going out via Zoom as well simultaneously. We're going to actually be setting up another training here within the next month, probably in October, for another training before so we're going to try to get one in before the year is out to get more people trained on this.
Yeah, the employer was a home health agency, and I was a little bit, not a little bit, I was a lot put off that they were unfamiliar with it, because STNA is an item that needs a CQE, and she was terminated from her position. So I found the Ohio chapter of the National Home Health Association and asked if we could present at one of their quarterly meetings.
Oh, that's a great idea as well.
Believe it or not, looking at dates for us to present. So I think the boots on the ground in the region, and attack, I don't want to say attack, but educating specific, like the manufacturing associations, the home health aid associations, if we can hit those big ticket items too, I think we can make a dent into the information about CQE.
Yeah, that's great. Those are very strategic targets.
It's kind of odd, but manufacturing doesn't have an Ohio revised code that actually keeps them from hiring anyone, but the health industry
Pretty much.
does. So it's kind of strange that they're sometimes apprehensive, but there's no Ohio revised code that limits someone in manufacturing from actually hiring someone with a background. That's another workshop.
Yeah, a lot of education. All right, well, thank you guys for all the suggestions. Thank you for the questions and thank you for the discussion. I know I really appreciate it. I have 2 pages of notes here, so we'll get working on those things to make the reentry data more accessible and easy and appropriate for everyone that's needing it. I do want to turn it over to Bill. I know we have people on the call that could probably demo relink.org better than us because you've used it, and we thank you for that. And then we probably have some here that are a little bit less familiar with it. So we want to go through how to utilize relink.org because we want it to be a tool to help you find resources. I always believe that if you or when you are helping someone in need, you shouldn't spend all of your time looking for resources for them. You should spend your time talking to them, engaging them, and helping them in the way that you can in that one-on-one situation. So our goal with relink.org is to just make that easy for you to find options for anyone that you are helping. So Bill, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Barbara. Let me pull up the screen real quick.
He's going to do a live demo. We're going to go off of slides.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, so this is the landing page for relink.org. So to find resources, just click Find Resources or Find Resources Now. And you'll see the categories that Barbara discussed earlier. So we offer reentry, addiction, human trafficking, basic needs, and several other resource categories. So if you're going to look for resources in a specific area, you can look by city or zip code as well as county. So for this presentation, we could do Stark County. After that, click the search button. Click the resource you need, so reentry. Housing, employment, education, and support services are some of the subcategories for reentry resources. After you click another one, you'll find more subcategories. And if you're looking for employment, education, or job readiness programs, you can find those here. And here's a list of all the different organizations that we have in our database that provide job readiness resources in Stark County. And if you want to print or send this list to a client or a different another person, you can just select all the resources you want and then scroll down and print, email, or share it on social media. So this is what your page will actually look like. I know a lot of the coalitions already have a service provider page listed on relink.org. This is what it looks like, and I'll show you in a minute how you can actually post this, but it lists your organization info, all the service you provide, whether you provide services to a specific gender or a veteran-specific service, and then your organization description here at the bottom. And this can also be printed or emailed as well. And if you're not sure if your organization is already listed on relink.org, you can go up here to search provider by name and put in your provider to check. So to actually create an account on relink.org, you can go back to the landing page and click on Account Portal. After that, you'll see a register account signal right here. You put it down your information, and after that, you'll log in. And here is where you'll want to, if you don't have an organization already listed, go to Add New under your provider information. And all the stuff you saw on relink.org, this is where you put that information down. So all the services you provide, where you're listed, phone number, contact information, all this stuff can be listed on relink.org, completely free. Everything is free to use, whether you're registering or just searching for resources, it's all free to use. After you've listed your resource, let us know, either email me or info@relink.org. I'll also put my email in the chat, and we will make sure that your organization is listed on relink.org within the next 24 hours.
It's pretty easy to fill out the form. It's just a checkbox form. You just check the services that you offer. As we were talking today, though, I think for reentry coalitions, we'll add some different specific services that we could put for each one, or at the moment, we'll type them in the comments so we can free form them, so we can show exactly what services each coalition offers. Do you want to real quick, Bill, go under where the coalition data is right now and show what's there currently for reentry coalitions?
Yeah,
Since
I'll
that's
pull
our
it up.
audience here today. It doesn't take us too long to demo relink.org, because our hope is that it should take you just a few seconds to find what you're looking for. But if anybody has any questions, if there's a category you want to look at, we have the database designed with a lot of redundancy. So whether you start, for example, if you start with the addiction category, but you then you're really looking for something that might be related to someone with reentry, it's redundant. So likewise, if you click the reentry button and the client you're working with struggles with addiction, you're going to find the addiction resources under that button. So the site has some redundancies in it on purpose.
Are we on mute? Or is that their screen?
Oh, that's it.
So there's several reentry coalitions already listed on relink.org. If you're not sure, you don't see your coalition listed, just reach out to us. I'll put my email in the chat and we'll verify whether it's in our database or not. If it already is in the database, just let us know and we will link your account to the service provider page so you can edit and update it.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your list. If you scroll back up to where Montgomery County is, down, or I'm sorry,
You're good.
right there, Montgomery County. So I see that there's some have a greenhouse and then some have a building. So what's the difference there? Or, oh, so that shows we're a government agency. Is that the difference?
Yeah, so on this side, you'll see non-government, government organization, or a faith-based provider organization. That is where that's listed.
Okay, so we're there now. Do we have anything under that? Or do we need to make some, okay.
So this is what your page looks like. If you create an account on relink.org, I will link you to this page so you can update it and edit wherever you
Oh, there I am. Okay.
You're famous and you didn't even know it.
Hey, I didn't even know I was in there. That's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Okay.
But we do know we don't have every office on here. I think we talked about that, making sure we get all the reentry offices on here. I do not think they're all on here. I think we need to get more on, but you can see they're here. And I know all, like, especially the new coalitions are not on here yet. And so we do want to get everybody added and linked and updated.
All right, that's it for me. I'll leave my information in the chat box so you can reach out to me if you have any problems or questions registering, or if you'd like to be linked to your account.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments or additional suggestions? We have 10 minutes left. I mean, this may be a good time, as Roxanne mentioned at the beginning, if anybody has any suggestions for topics of future quarterly meeting topics, we'd love to go over those. I know we've got the idea of the assistance in filling out the CQE forms and the expedited partner program forms. I also was thinking about using data to help the coalitions. We could share some ways to use data out of relink.org to help coalitions, but we're certainly open to any ideas for future topics. Or at the same point in this time, if anybody has anything in general questions they'd like to ask, I think this is a good time for that.
Barbara, I see Erin, and Erin, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but she had a question.
Erin, go ahead if you have a
Previously.
question.
Yeah, she's unable to access the account to update it.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to put. So Erin, if I understand right, I'm trying to look at the chat, I'm sorry, and I don't have it up in front of me. There we go. You have an account, but you were unable to access it. Is that correct? If so, we can follow up with anyone that has specific questions and walk through how to do that. It's a possibility it's not linked, or it's a possibility it's not linked correctly, but we can correct that in like a second. So we'll look into that. And as long as your email is in the chat, we can follow up with you specifically because we'll save the chat.
She said yes, her mic must not be working.
Okay, well, we'll follow up with you, Aaron, and make sure we get that fixed. And Bill is really good at responding, test him. But if you send an email, especially in the workday, he'll respond to you probably within an hour or so. So if there are any frustrations, we don't want anyone to be frustrated. We would rather you just reach out and ask, and we'll get it fixed as fast as we can. And Zach, your hand is up.
Yeah, I had a nice conversation with Bill last week and offered to throw a couple links in the chat that might be helpful to folks, specifically around birth certificate and ID vouchers at pop-up events, which talk about the draw between that and cell phones. If you provide that, I guarantee you'll have a crowd. So I know that we represent both government and nonprofit entities on this call. And when it comes to ID voucher provision, it's two different processes with the BMV. The BMV already has a form that exists for government entities to provide a service to a client. And when I finish speaking, I'll copy that link into the chat. And so essentially what happens if you are a government entity and you're providing a voucher, you provide that slip to them, carbon copy it, they give it to the BMV in the county within the amount of time allotted on the voucher, and then you are invoiced after the fact to pay the bill. If you are a nonprofit, you have to set up an account in advance by depositing a certain amount of money, which is then drawn against as people go and request an ID with that voucher. There is not a form for that. And so the Restored Citizens Collaborative just got on Microsoft Word and used some text boxes and made our own form. But that has to be a nonprofit account set up. And you can do that at any BMV, but you need to find the person that is the highest level at that BMV, the manager, so that they can set that account up for you. So depending on what type of entity you're representing, and just FYI on how that works. And then if the form is not already carbon copied, obviously just making sure that you're notating the number of voucher that you're handing out for your own records is really important. On the birth certificate piece, and again, I assume most folks know this. I know I personally had to replace a birth certificate once in my life. Again, that's an Office of Vital Statistics form that's standard. The thing that we've been able to do more recently that's been helpful for time is we have been able to take them to Columbus Public Health in person with a debit card and print them off same day from the Office of Vital Statistics. Not every office has capacity to process that. However, if you do a great pop-up and you have 35 requests, they may not be able to do that on a Monday morning for you. And so you do still have the option to have those mailed out and then pay in person with the debit card, cashier's check, et cetera, at the same time in one place. And then those can either be mailed out or you can pick them up in person, which is obviously much more expedient for the person waiting on the birth certificate to get the state ID that you gave them a voucher for. So I will put several links in the chat that hopefully are helpful to folks. Again, feel free to borrow, make it your own, and get the funds out there for that, because we've found that that's probably been, apart from cell phones, the greatest need that folks have. So hope that's helpful. And if anyone has any questions, I'll put my email in the chat.
Also, to add to that, Zach, just anyone that's working with our returning citizens that recently are released, to encourage them not to lose that prison release ID, because it's like gold when they walk out of the system, and they can take it straight to BMV. And as Zach said, with the vouchers from the different agencies, but that's the only thing that they'll need when they go to BMV. Because if they lose it, then they've got to go through trying to collect 4 or 5 different pieces of document to get those IDs. So just encourage them to hold on to it, don't lose it.
Lisa, did you have a comment? I think I saw something pop up in the chat.
I did, as Zach was talking, I shared some information about the Ohio Department of Health vital statistics. You can order online as long as you're using debit or credit. So like Zach mentioned, there's some places you can go in person. If you can't do that, it's what I have found to be the quickest and easiest. I also wanted to mention too, the last comment about not losing that release ID. We have created in the Office of Reentry a brochure that talks about what to do with that release ID and then how to get your birth certificate and social security card. And we could definitely share it with the coalitions. You're welcome to, share it electronically or print and provide it to folks, especially people who are first coming home from incarceration.
Great, thank you. There's so much wealth of experience already out there to help support all the new coalitions. It's awesome. So thank you. Thanks to everybody. We're just about out of time. Are there any other questions or comments, suggestions? All right, Roxanne, you want to have the last word? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Oh, I don't need the last word. I was just typing in the chat, and so I'll just say it instead. I just appreciate everybody attending. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your contributions, your questions. Thank you, Barbara and Bill, for this information. I think it was helpful. And I'm really looking forward to more of these connections. So thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys. Enjoy working with y'all and privileged to be a part of it. Play a little part in all the great work you guys do. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.